Welcome to Los Angeles, Italia. We are at the Hollywood and Island Center in the heart of Hollywood, which is not the same of the past. Dear Diane McVicker, you can see on Hollywood Boulevard the few people walking over there. Although there is an Oscar around on Sunday, we're gonna have the Academy Award show this year. We have 3 Italian people nominated, so we are always very happy, but the situation does not allow us to be so happy. Welcome back, Daniel McVicker. You're actually staying with us in this event that we are organizing from a long story since 2006 at the Chinese Theater, and we are very happy, Daniel, to be there also this year, which is definitely a special year.
I was there in 2006 in Los Angeles, and now I'm here with Pascal, and it's partly virtual because it's online, certainly now with this, because we do extraordinary meetings with filmmakers and artists, but it's also on mymovies.it and eventive.org. You can see Italian movies here for a limited time, especially in America. There's a whole 163 films are being shown on these 2 platforms, but also in person at the Chinese Theater. It's very limited to get in. You can get 25% capacity. That's the max because of the situation right now. But we are going on. The show must go on.
Yes.
And it is
and
indeed.
Look what a studio we have. Look what a beautiful studio we have. There is for welcoming such an important guest that we have online. First of all, let me welcome the Oscar-winning director Bille from Denmark, and the other maestro, Erri De Luca from Napoli. Actually, this is a very important meeting for me because Bille August was just asked to direct a movie from a book, Me and You. And with us we have also Nicola Corigliano of Intesa San Paolo Bank, who's actually the main sponsor of Los Angeles, Italia since 3 years, and we cannot thank enough Intesa San Paolo, which is the most prestigious Italian and one of the most important European bank to support culture, to support cinema. They're doing an amazing job. They are supporting so many production. Nicola, just don't worry, just say a few words in English, the one that you can say, and then I will translate for you what is in your art, because this is for international our audience.
Terrible, so I think that it's better that you translate for me.
Yes,
but I try to speak English. Okay. Yes. In these last years, the activity in Italy is always increasing, and only in the few 6 months, we supported about 50 production between features and TV series. We believe that the cinema have a big problem for the theatrical, but this situation of COVID is like a booster for the production. And we are stiamo vedendo, we are seeing, no, looking, no, stiamo vedendo,
yes,
that there are a lot of new movie in Italy, and I think that this is the best year in Italy for the production. 2021 will be the best year for the production in Italy.
Well, it's amazing, and it's very important that in a crisis moment there is a strong support, and Intesa San Paolo is definitely doing its part on this case, no?
Yes, because maybe that I speak Italian and you translate for me, so it's better. In questo momento si è modificato il modello di business.
So the business plan is changed.
E il cambiamento del modello di business e quindi dello sfruttamento inevitabilmente ha modificato anche il modello economico del settore.
Also the business schedule is also changed. The model, yes.
in questo nuovo modello economico il ruolo della banca è centrale.
And the bank became very important in order to make all these things happen.
Because aiuta i committenti broadcaster e OTT e i produttori a trovare il giusto mix tra quello che è un fabbisogno crescente di risorse per una sempre crescente qualità del prodotto e la necessità
the bank became very important in order to put together the OTT producer and the classic producer to find a certain common points in terms of production.
Yes, because now the timing for the cash flow is longer than before. The OTT want to pay in 24, in 3 years, but you know that cash flow needs soon. So we help the OTT or the broadcaster and the producer to close the financial plane, but then the problem is on the cash flow plane. And there the bank is very, very important. And in this last period, we are studying together with OTT and broadcaster and producer the mix. And we assicurare, we assure,
you guarantee.
We guarantee to the producer all cash flow for this new production, and the budget is always increasing. So it's very difficult to find a producer that alone can be support this financial vessel.
So this is a very, very cool. It's very interesting. Thank you so much, Nicola, because your commitment to cinema and to art as well. I would like to remind the important job that Intesa Sanpaolo is doing with also the Gallerie d'Italia, which is a project that converting old buildings, old and very historical buildings previously used as a bank, now to be a museum. There is one incredible in Piazza San Babila in Milano. Then you have another one in Torino, of course, because there is a Intesa.
Torino, they're building one right now, and they also have in Napoli.
In Napoli, and also they have in Veneto, and they are doing more and more. So thank you so much, Nicola. And let's go to the artist. Let's go to Erri De Luca and Bille August, who actually are not so much interested on what's going on with the money, because their job is to create emotions. And does money matches with emotion, Billy?
What was your question? Sorry.
Does the economic side matches with emotions, or you have to be very far away for being very creative and creating emotion?
You know, as a director, of course, you know that it's always expensive to make movies, and you are always in touch with the financing side, because you're waiting for the financing to get together. So you are depending on the money, and sometimes you have to make a choose to, can we afford to shoot in this location, or can we afford this actor? So you are very much, as a director, involved in the financing in a way. But creatively, you have, of course, to be very clear. What do you want to do? What kind of film do you want to make? And how to manage to get there what you want? So it's connected somehow. And also, I would say it should be the same vision for the director and the producer, to make as many people to watch what you have done, to reach a big audience.
So, Erri De Luca, be a writer, it's a complicated job in terms of money. Now you are like a movie star. Erri De Luca is like one of the George Clooney of the writing. But is it complicated at the beginning to be trusted as a writer?
Not so much, not so much. I just was well accepted since the first books, and so I went on writing the others. But in this case, this story, Tu mio, mi, you, it's a very intimate story for me. It's something that regards my good and people that I met, and the main character Kaya was a girl that I knew and that I loved, and now she's dead. So it's a very private story, and we tried to organize a movie since several years with the open production di Paolo Porrini Bisson, and now it happened. The connection with Mark Bikinou and Billy August, and I think that's the best possibility offered to this movie, to this story.
So, Billy, how did you discover the book, the Erri De Luca book, Me and You? And what did you like most?
Mark who sent me the book and asked if I was interested, and I read the novel. And I just knew immediately this is great. This is a beautiful, beautiful story, and I could see a film in there. And then I immediately said, I want to be part of this. Let's do it. Let's try to get it going. And right now we're working on the script, and I'm also very honored to meet the writer Erri De Luca now, even this platform. But I'm really excited about it, and I think we can make a really, really beautiful, intimate film. It's very emotional. It's very engaging. You know, it's a beautiful story.
I've had the pleasure of reading this material as well. And Billy, it's a very personal story and a love story, but a very young love story. Yes.
I mean, Eric can explain, but it's about the leading character, the boy. He's 16 and he falls in love with a lady or girl who's 20. And it's, you know, what's so beautiful about it, you know, it's this kind of first love experience. And there's an innocence to the whole story, which I find very, very beautiful. And innocence in a film, connection with film, is always very, very touching. Meeting the first love, you know, and how to deal with this kind of love. In Eric's novel, it's the leading character, the boy. He's Italian, but we had to change it. So in the script now, he will be British, but his mother is Italian. That's how he has this connection, and he falls in love with this girl, and it all takes place in beautiful Ischia. So we have to spend a lot of time there.
So, Erri, what did made you create this book? And I mean, I'm very happy because it takes place on one of my favorite places in the world, the Isle of Ischia in the Naples Bay.
Ischia for me has been the years of freedom. All my summers I spent in Ischia since I was just a little boy, little girl, a child. So Ischia for me is the place of my real contact with the freedom. And the first thing that we did when we arrived on the island was to move off the shoes and be barefoot and stay barefoot for all the months up until we have to leave and come back to Napoli. We stayed for 3 months on this island in the summer. So it was the pure freedom and the best lesson for a boy, for a child to meet the nature. So I have also the luck of being to help on a fish boat with a man that was a real fisherman of Ischia, Nicola. Nicola learned me to fish, and Kaya went on the boat with Nicola and my uncle. So it's now this story is not more my story. Now it belongs to Billy.
And Billy, Ischia for you, what does it mean? Do you have the similar connection with nature because you're in Ischia very often?
Yeah, it's interesting, as Erri said, that you get this feeling of freedom. There's something original about it. It doesn't feel, even though there are a lot of tourists, but at the same time, it feels very, very true, very original. And I hope that the feeling of freedom that Erri is talking about, that we can capture that in the film also. And of course, the nature is important. And we will now go on some location scout and trying to find the most beautiful places on the island in order to capture that beautiful feeling.
Erri, you are getting even more involved in cinema with your colleague and partner Paola Bisson. I mean, there is no cinema without beautiful books. This is certain. This is an old story.
The cinema needs stories, so it needs books, needs writers. But then the writing is just the start of something that becomes completely different. Writing is a single job. And cinema is a collective work of many skills and many competence. And when I watch a movie, I want to look at the final names that after the screening, because I want to see how many people have worked to realize the movie. That's cinema. Cinema is signed by all the names written at the end of the movie. So I admire the movie and the cinema, but I remain a single isolated author that writes his stories in all by his own.
Giancarlo Leone, who's the president of the Association Audiovisual Producer in Italy. So we are talking with the two great artists, the Oscar winner director Bille August and the writer Erri De Luca. So Bille August, 2 days ago, we have been talking about the issue. The platforms are changing the approach to the storytelling because they need maybe longer version. Also, some authors were influenced, let's say, not in a positive way by working with the platforms, because considering the platform just needs a title and a brand to sell the product, then the author is free to leave the footage as long as he can, and is not anymore stressed to close the movie in a special length. So in which way you think that the platforms, Giancarlo Leone, has changed the visual of the storytelling?
Yes, thank you. I'm honored to be here with you, with Bille and Erri, and just let me tell, not because I'm Italian, but I think that Erri De Luca is one of the most important writers, not only in Italy, but in all the world, and I love his works. And I'm happy to say this now because I've never met him before. So let me say to Erri De Luca that I'm really honored, also Bille, certainly, to see here Erri De Luca and to speak with him and with all of you. Just let me say that the role of the streaming platforms is certainly very, very important, and and this and we can see this by how many works, how many series, and how many films are produced in the world, but in Italy too, directly for them. I think that the most important thing, and this is not sure all the times, is that the platforms leaves the independent producers free to have his original ideas, to write them and to submit them to the platforms, and giving at the same time the correct rights, I diritti, they have to hold during all the process, because many times what happens is that the producer, that the platforms want to pay for the film for them or for the series, keeping all the rights or the main rights, and excluding in this the independent producers. So I think that the problem is not only that if the authors are free to write, they have to be free to write, but also if the producers are free to submit those ideas, and they are free to produce in the best way, having the correct rights. This is, I think, one of the main problems.
So one of the first company in Italy to share time with the platforms to get hired a job by the platforms was Cataleya. We have here one of the founders of this company, Marco Kim. Also, I saw so many times dealing very straight with the Americans. So actually, Marco, the platform changed your life.
Oh, they did. They did. It has been, well, good morning, everybody, first off. But yeah, it has been a wonderful ride so far. We started off with their first original series with Netflix. We're now working, we have negotiations or contracts or developments with most of the others. It has been a great pleasure. It is a challenge. But I mean, it is so good that they arrived to Italy, and in some cases, after they had already rolled out internationally in other territories, in some cases, Italy was part of the first group of territories. Certainly, we need to learn from them, and I guess they need to adjust to the European environment. There are things that they belong, there are business models that they carry out, that they are brought from the studio system, which don't necessarily fit to the European model, and other things that are actually very interesting for European producers and talents to learn from. The studio model is very different. The studio model is in America is very simple situation where a commissioning entity says, I pay it all and I take it all. In Europe, there is a different system, and I think that it's important that the streamers come to terms with a more heavily regulated situation, and a situation where producers are not simply showrunners, and so they belong to companies that are independent and they cherish their independence very much, and where is a tradition of independent screenwriting, so that is also very, very strong. So, but look, it's I guess a reciprocal learning curve, I would call it.
Together with us, we have also an Italian director. Before there was two, now one is added, but there is Carlo Carleia and Ivan Controneo. Hi guys. Carlo Carlei was raised as a director, international director, by Dino De Laurentiis. Actually, was kidnapped by Dino De Laurentiis to write. So we have here an amazing writer such as Erri De Luca, and we have an amazing director as well as you, Carlo, who's Bille August. So writing it's the main story to make either both a movie or a TV show, as you are doing now, the most successful TV show with Ivan Cotroneo. You have both working for RaiCom. We are very proud that we are showing at the Chinese theater and on the platforms, thanks to RaiCom, one of your show, The Fugitive, La Fugitiva, and La Compagnia del Cigno. So really, even we are also showing so many movies of yours this year. Carlo has been with us since the first Capri Hollywood in 1995. So Carlo, let's remember when Dino De Laurentiis kidnapped you, put you in a room to say, Carlo, right.
You need to turn on your microphone. You're on mute. There we go.
Hear me well? But that was just one of the parentheses. You know, when you work in Hollywood, you just develop several projects, and somehow I got entangled with a deal with Dino De Laurentiis for a movie called The Last Legion, which I created from scratch, story, screenplay. And but Dino was quite a character. So at the end we clashed. I couldn't make the movie under the circumstances that he wanted me to do the movie with a low budget in Bratislava, but somehow officially the budget was supposed to be bigger, and it was a little bit of a messy situation. So I prefer to cash out and leave the project, because I know I couldn't do a good job. I always smell danger, and even if we became friends, when you get used to somebody, when you sort of become your butler, and you forget his artistic virtues, so to speak. So that I don't consider that a very good experience in my life. For one of those strange things that only Dino could concoct, the novel, the novelization of my script called L'ultima legione became a bestseller, and the author, made a lot of money out of it. So it's one of those, irregular things that happen at the once in Hollywood, but somehow now, they're more difficult to happen. People can screw you so much, even if you are a woman from a sexual standpoint, or if you are an artist. I applaud the fact that the people who are bullying their employees, are pointed out, and it's the end of an era. I know there was something very, very, I don't know, legendary and glamorous, and about those bigger than life characters, but there was a lot of there were dynamics that weren't so different than what happened in the mafia, in my opinion. So I think that even if we can go to some extremes, and you have very talented people like Kevin Spacey being a pariah right now, that he can find a job. I think that there was a need for some cleaning, some deep cleaning in the way people were behaving, were operating, and yeah, that's it.
So Ivan, you are one of the most creative artists in Italy. You write many fiction. You write movies. You direct it. You always find the time to make something new. Where does your creativity come from? Open the microphone, Ivan. Hello?
Hello.
There we go.
Here I am.
There we are.
Yes, thank you for everything, Pascal, and thanks most of all for the fact that you're showing my movies and my TV series over there. I'm very glad. And yours is a very good question. I do not have the answer. The only thing I know is that I like very much my work. That's about telling stories, even when I'm a novelist or a screenwriter or a director, and telling stories to people and trying to get them involved with what I write. For me, is my way of talking to the world, to the people. I feel like I am always very embarrassed, or at least limited, when I try to speak with my voice. But when I have my written words, or I have my camera and I could put images and words together, I feel happy. So I actually don't know. The only thing I know is that I always try to find new ways to tell my stories to people. So that's the reason why I wrote for other directors that I admire, such as Luca Guadagnino or Maria Soleto Ignazzi or Ferzan Ozpetek. I wrote movies for myself, and also I wrote and I'm writing TV series, because I like very much, as a screenwriter, the idea of having so many time to develop your character and your stories, to have virtually the infinity possibilities of like dealing with twist of the plot and developing of the characters. So I think I will be an happy person as long as I will go on telling stories. And now there is, as you say, the TV series that's broadcasting in Italy on Rai Uno, that's called La Compagnia del Cigno, the Company of the Swan. It's about 7 young students in the Conservatory of Milan, Italy, Giuseppe Verdi Conservatory. At the same time, I am editing a movie that's called 14 Days, 14 giorni, with just 2 characters in an apartment. And for almost all the things that I have done as director, I've worked with one production, that's Indigo Film. They are the producers of The Great Beauty and so many movies, and now also TV series in Italy. And I have with them a great relationship, because I think that now in these very days, a screenwriter and also a director has to be involved in all the question regarding how to get the budget, how to deal with the OTT for the rights, and so on. So I think that the past antagonism that Carlo talked about, with this kind of tycoon and the fights you had to have with them, are now a thing of the past. Now the authors are trying to be involved more as creators in the industry, and so this means to work on the same side with the producers.
Even what do you think is the key to your productivity? Because you are so prolific, from novels to certainly film and television. What keeps you going? Is it coffee? Is it what makes you from morning to night do so much?
Definitely a lot of coffee, definitely, but also the fact that I am happy when I write. I realized it when we were in our first lockdown, and things were so heavy for everyone, and we were such in peril, and didn't understand anything. I actually was shooting like till 3 days before the lockdown in Italy happened at the beginning of March. I was shooting till the Saturday before, just 3 days before. And I think, I don't know what would I've done if I didn't have my writing and the possibility of imagining new stories. It's like a mixture of surviving and happiness.
We are also here at Itasis. We are in the Oscar week, a few hours to the magic day every artist is looking forward in this career. Shortly, we're gonna be also in Davide Donatello feeling, because the Italian Oscar, they call it that, which is something in May, is gonna honor all the major movies, Italian movies of the past season. We are showing in Los Angeles, Italia, many of them. There are two that are definitely the major hit for you, which is I Don't Know Way, directed by Giorgio Diritti, and Bad Tales by the brother Innocenzo, as well as we are showing the Predators by Pietro Castellitto, and naturally Pinocchio, the Garrone's Pinocchio, and the Edoardo Ponti, The Life Ahead. So you are in movies since ages, although you are very young lady already. But I want to tell how did the Italian cinema is changing in positive, because definitely we are going through an amazing time with so many creative people and such a talented directors.
Yes, I want to remember you that before the lockdown, we had a very good moment for Italian movies and for Italian cinema, and for the quota of Italian movies in our country. So if you want, there was a suspension and suspense during the pandemic, but I think the Italian movies and the Italian cinema is in a very good moment, because there is a new generation, and there is an international feeling, and all the directors and the producer try to have a relation with outside of Italy and try to co-product, and it is and to narrate international stories, local and international stories. So I am very curious to see what happened on the 11th of March 11, March, during the Davide Donatello evening, because I think that we will have some surprise, and we discover also new talent together with the confirmation of mastery and or well-known directors. So I think we have to look at the future, and I think that the relationship with the relation with the platform, with the television production and the TV series, it will be very, very important and very interesting to look at, because I consider the world is changing. I consider that the cinema and the movies have the theater as a first home, the first room, and it's very important that the theater can come back, because the real soul of movies are the theater. But I'm sure that we are going to change a lot and to find virtuoso, we say in Italy, relation with the new talents and the new language of the platform and the TV series and original movies. So it's a very strange moment, very interesting, and you have to remember that the production in Italy is in a great moment. All the theater closed, but they are going to reopen in a few days, quite reopening. But the production is very, very strong in this moment. So they never stop to narrate and write new stories. They never stop to produce new stories. So it's a very strange moment. The silence of the theater and the strong voice of the producer and the artist. So I am very curious, very confused as all the people, but it's a very interesting moment. We have to pass through and to look at the future. And I hope that Davide Donatello give us some revelation about this and about the future.
We are now watching some images coming from live from Los Angeles in Union Station, where it's going to take place, my dear Daniel, mostly of this year Oscar.
The presentation and the awards will be taking place at Union Station. People will be coming in shifts into the ceremony area and being in the outside area. Maybe you could see the tents right there. But Union Station is just east of downtown Los Angeles. While the songs, the nominated songs, will be recorded at another location, and maybe we'll see a little bit of that later. But this is the Union Station where people would arrive to Hollywood in the 20s, 30s, 40s by train to be part of Hollywood. And here we are celebrating the Oscars at the same location, which is virtually unchanged, at least from the exterior, as it was back then. You see the tents there. People will be going in and out during the ceremonies so that everybody will be able to keep their distances, and they'll have a safe ceremony. Everybody's tested multiple times. So the Oscars are going ahead. Los Angeles Italia Film Festival is going ahead, both virtually but also in person at the Chinese Theater, where the Oscars also at the Dolby Theater will have first responders there, firemen, nurses, doctors, people who've been in the front lines for COVID. Here we see the Saban building. This is part of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Museum. This is the former May Company, an Art Deco monument in the 20s and 30s that this was built, and it was a department store. It was acquired by the Academy several years ago. Renzo Piano has redesigned it, created a beautiful structure in the back, and in that structure is where the songs will be taking place, the nominated songs, including Laura Pausini.
Yes, and let me tell you, we're very proud that this building has been renewed by Architetto Renzo Piano, as you mentioned. But inside, into the Academy Museum on Wilshire Boulevard, you're going to find a lot of memorabilia of the Italian cinema. Of course, they picked up by the maestro of Cinecittà. There are so many maestros, and some lights will be provided also by the maestro of cinematography. So for sure, we're going to have shortly with us Dante Ferretti and Francesca Lo Schiavo, who actually won 3 Oscars, and they really have a big part into this museum. However, talking about the Oscar, we have with us one director who comes from Denmark, Maestro Bille August. Maestro, when I first came to Copenhagen, I went to visit Rivoli because I am a big fan of Hans Christian Andersen. And his poetry is in this theme park that is in the middle of Copenhagen. Now you remind me in certain way Hans Christian Andersen, because you are a very romantic director, a very romantic man, a very might man. I can see you when I get you in my hurricane attitude. You always are calm and transfer to me calm. So how you and the other maestro, Erri De Luca, stay away from the hurricane that normally come from outside of your magic world doors? This is a question for you and for the other maestro, Erri De Luca.
I can only talk for myself. You know, if I get involved in a story, you need to have that obsession. You need to know exactly this is what to do, and nothing else counts anymore. And as long as you have this urgency, this necessity to do this thing you are about to do, then you exclude the rest of the world. It's just about focusing on that and not all the surroundings and whatever comes after and the glitter and glamour. It's just about trying to tell a story and how do you engage the audience. That comes down to as simple as that.
And you, Erri?
I have
How
been
do you
in my life
protect your integrity, your intellectual integrity from the hurricane that comes from the regular life?
I have been in so many hurricanes in my life that I feel at ease in hurricanes because I stay calm.
Makes you more creative today.
I am myself. I am a quiet man, but a quiet man in the hurricanes. Out of them, I am normal, indifferent man.
So, how did your writing career started? What gave you the idea to make out of your life a writing job?
Because my writings depends on the life I pass through. My characters are persons for me are persons, not personal, not character. So I did not invent them. I exploit the life and the people I met, and I write some. And writing, I have the possibility to stay again with them. That's the best thing that happens in my writings, to be again with people that are no more there.
Carlo Leone, this world has still room for poets such as Erri De Luca and Bille August, or like a maestro of acting like Joe Mantegna?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I say that does this business has still room for this type of maestro with all, we are hurrying up to produce fast and fast and fast because we have so much material to deliver through so many devices. So there is still some room for poetry in this business?
I think that there is more room than before, because more channels you have, more kind of distributions you have. So now you have theatrical, you have the pay, you have the subscriptional video on demand, you have transactional video on demand, you have advertising video on demand, you have free, you have so many possibilities to give the possibility to the authors to create quality projects. And I can say that now it's more possible than in the past.
There is room for poetry also, you think? Because my opinion is that poetry is just missing something in this business. They want material that also pay back in terms of audience, and seems that the audience is going even more away from culture. Am I wrong?
No, I don't agree. I really think that the multiplication of the devices and the possibility to do some art, doing a film for the exhibitors, to do films for series for platforms or for broadcasters. You have so many possibilities. You have thematic channels, cultural thematic channels. So you have much more opportunities now than in the past. In the past, you had the box office of the cinema, and you had the audience of the TV in the past. So now in the middle, there are so many possibilities that these possibilities give really the opportunity for the authors and for the poets and for who believes in quality and culture to give much more than in the past. I really believe strongly in this.
Well, I just heard a few days ago by Maestro Terry Gilliam, here live from Hollywood, that he cannot find the money for his new movie. And I told Maestro Gilliam that he reminded me a bit the latest Federico Fellini, who actually, when he was pre-producing his latest interview, the interview, he was very, very upset because he could not find the money even through the Italian television. Then I was working as assistant of the Rai Uno director Carlo Fuscagni. I remember the phone call with Federico Fellini, who was very pissed with Fuscagni. Says, oh, what's going on? I am Fellini. Why don't you find the money for me? You produce so many stuff. So I asked this question, Giancarlo Leone, because this is a witness of Terry Gilliam. So Marco Chimenez, is difficult today to deal with a project that has not the speed that the new media requires.
What do you mean they don't have the speed?
I mean that back to the poetry, because Terry Gilliam, his imagination, his fantasy, it's and maybe it's out of any idea of budget. Today you deal with budget. It's more. It's becoming more a business plan important than the script.
Well, I kind of subscribe to what Giancarlo was saying. I think that this explosion of media or commissioning entities will make the lives of the many talents easier. Now, yes, there might be situations where when this, particularly the streamers, when they grow, and they want to aim at a very mainstream audience you used to call in the past art house movies will be, or films or series will have a tougher life to be put together. But I think that over the next few years, we're going to see some differentiation between the streamers. You will have streamers at the very broad audience that will go mainstream and will be more pop than culturally elevated. And I think there will still be streamers that we have, a taste for, more difficult material, more elevated than. And there is always the cinema. Cinemas are not going to go away. They're probably going to play a role for, art house movies more than they've done in the past. I guess the middle of the road movies will have a tougher life in cinemas, as they already had in the last 2-3 years. But the big blockbusters and the art house festival movies will keep on having around there for sure.
Carlo Carlei, do you think that there is a room today for poetry, or you are always dealing with budget as well? Because seems that the director job has changed. You have to be also a businessman to make your movie happen.
Well, it's very interesting, and it's a little bit more complicated than what was just said before. Because, for example, art house movie theaters don't exist anymore in America. Only in the last 20 years, 7 very important venues, closed down in LA, which is a different thing than New York, because there are still some great theaters that they're still open in New York, and they screen European movies. So it's tricky, because poetry can still exist even if it's kind of disguised. It's like the active principle of a pill. You have a lot of excipients of other substances that you need in order to get the real thing. And it's the same thing. It's up to the audience, to the critics, to really understand where quality is, and you may make something very commercial and still being very and still deliver something that has a lot of integrity, style, where you can easily recognize, the imprinting of the creativity of a director. Productions for the streaming giants don't necessarily have to be programs that are kind of conceived in a lab. I actually, I'm in love with Diesel, which is an Israeli series that is very successful on Netflix. Is in Yiddish and with subtitles, and people seem to be crazy about it. Tales from the Loop, which is a dystopian sci-fi series on Amazon, was very, very kind of elitarian in terms of creativity. That was beautiful, and none of the networks, or in America or in Europe, would ever have produced those shows. I don't know if those shows are a kind of a Trojan horse, to set the foot down and say, okay, this is our territory now, and then they're gonna make more and more commercial stuff. When you say Netflix, you say it's like saying the universe, because you find very shitty stuff and then you find very fine shows. I think that one of the problems is that no matter what they say about the algorithm, is that it's so difficult every time you go on Netflix. I'm going to watch something on Netflix, and then you're going to spend half an hour trying to figure out what to choose. I mean, that's something that sooner or later they have to solve. Because the quantity is so huge, and there is no selection, there is no guidance, there is nothing that, if not your guts feelings, that can tell you, I'm gonna watch this or about the theatrical experience. 8 years ago, somebody who's not a dilettante in this field, his name is Steven Spielberg, saying something very, very, very interesting. He said, in the future, movie theaters will still exist, but the experience of going to see a movie would be very similar to going and enjoy a big rock concert. It's going, like Avatar 2 or Avatar 3 or the next Star Wars, whatever. They're going to be very, very expensive piece of entertainment, that are going to be delivered in the most sophisticated, advanced technological way. But they're going to saturate the marketplace for a weekend or two. But the trend in the last 10 years has been that, even a blockbuster, the third week is down 70%. So this means that this pandemic has only accelerated a trend. There are no venues for art house movies. And certainly art house movies don't have the power, to go into a multiplex because of the cost of marketing and publicity. I made the Romeo and Juliet for 7 to 8 million euros, and to release it, a major studio asked us $25 million. I made it for less than 10, but to release it properly, widely, they needed twice as much, or even more than twice, my production budget. So it's a little bit tricky. So let's say that somehow, thinking that the American independent cinema, and I'm talking American independent cinema because that's only like the mirror of what is going to happen in the years to come everywhere else in the world. The fact that somehow with very few exceptions, but not so many few, because even Scorsese had to make, The Irishman for Netflix. Has migrated. The independent movies have migrated on the streaming, channels, and that's something. So maybe there would be room for art house movies in theaters, in some small ones that they're mostly concentrated in big cities like New York or Boston or Toronto. But I see that the future is IMAX, giant IMAX screens everywhere, screening very expensive movies, and 100 inches TV sets in every house that would cost 2,000 euros in a few years, where people can enjoy art house movies as much as they want without the burden of if you have a family of 3-4 people, it's going to cost you $100 between parking, popcorn, and Coca-Cola, and the tickets to go to see a movie. So I think it's going to be more convenient just to stay home and not and do whatever you want. Enjoy the movie without the smell of it used to be popcorns with butter. Now it's nachos and shitty cheese that smells like horrible. And so I actually, as long as we educate the new generation to see products and in a way that doesn't impoverish it, like on a phone or a small screen, etc., I think we are okay. There would be always the need to tell stories, and there would be always the need, in my opinion, for poetry, for authors that are different from each other. Otherwise, because at the end of the day, the audience knows that something is derivative or it's original. And I think they're always gonna always gonna reward something new, something innovative, in my opinion.
Very good. We've been joined here by an actor from theater, certainly some television, but films, very important films, Joe Mantegna. Joe, are you there? We hear you. Joe, is there still room for poetry in this business? We can't hear you.
The microphone.
So it's kind of a silent poetry. We need to turn on the microphone here or there. Can you Joe? Can you unmute your phone? Unmute, he went. There we are. Mute, unmute.
It's on the bottom left. On the bottom left, it says, you'll see it. It says mute or unmute.
I have it.
There you go.
See? Fantastic. Thank you.
I'll give you the lead. And Joe, is there room for poetry in this business?
Oh my God. Yes, I think there will be poetry. I think those were wonderful comments that were just made. And my feeling is, like right now, I'm doing a new series on Amazon. And one thing that's impressing me is that because, you know, because it is streaming as opposed to being network television, they're able to say things, do things, show things, tell stories without any encumbrance, without any, without putting censorship on it. So in other words, that's been enlightening for me, because I'm used to doing that in the movies, but in a television experience, I've never had that experience. So, I mean, I think I think that was a very good point that was just made. In other words, we're entering a whole new era now. I mean, and this whole COVID thing, I think, has accelerated it. But this whole thing of being able to, people are, you know, of course, I'm fortunate. I have a screening room in my home. But I mean, many people have a reasonable facsimile, and it won't be long before people will have one room, a wall dedicated to, you know, watching the visual arts, and be able to, you know, reach all kinds of material and product that's out there. And that's just, there's no avoiding that. I mean, and I think that was a good point too, that the only thing that will be left will be big extravaganzas where you have maybe possibly thousands of people all in one place to watch things on giant screens that you can't duplicate in your home. But beyond that, I think the history of the art houses and intimate art kind of driven stories will take place more in people's homes. And I think that's just, there's no avoiding that. And I think that's okay.
So, and also we've been joined by Bernard Hiller. Bernie, you're with us here. Now, you can tell us about teaching young artists and what that means to you.
No, but what is the feeling that you collect right now in this moment by all the international talents you are always meeting through Zoom? So you're making acting class through Zoom. I saw yesterday an event with 200 people. Congratulations. So you making also a big deal out of a Zoom master class. But what is the feeling of these people that are connecting with you from all over the world?
First, I want to say hi to Billy. Hello, Billy. How are you? And of course, Mr. Mantegna. I'd like to say hello to everybody here. I've been teaching an acting masterclass on Zoom, and it is incredible. I thought, how could you teach on Zoom? It sounds totally crazy. But for some reason, actors are more focused, and I can reach people from China, from Russia, from all over the world, all focusing on getting better as an actor, but also because of this pandemic, everyone seems to have an opportunity. We all seem to have an opportunity because of all the films. I have people who have been, as he mentioned, Schitzel. I'm working with a girl who was on Unorthodox. It's all the different people. It's become a level playing field. The actors are excited because there are 570 channels and they need content. And I also agree with the fact that we can't sit in our homes. I don't care how big the screen is. People are going to want to go out and meet other people. That's why we don't like the pandemic so much, because we're alone. So I like the fact that since the Greeks, we have gathered and seen things. How it's going to be, I don't know. But I think there's a new day coming and things have changed, and the actors are more energized. They feel more possibilities because all of a sudden some guy from Iran is auditioning for a part and he's getting it. It's unbelievable, the possibilities. It sort of made us flat. The world has become flat. We're all together now. It's not just Italian movies, it's movies. You got movies. We got people from different countries. We don't care about accents. We don't care about people actually reading in America. I didn't know they could read, right, Joe? Who knew they could read? But they're reading subtitles because you know what? There's great acting. I have actors in Casa de Papel. Isn't that like, have you seen that movie from Spain? It's like a killer. Then we have people who are doing Israeli films, but they would have never had a chance. They never would have had a chance to do that because it's like, oh, who would have put that in? So I think that there's a new day coming and the actors are energized. And I believe that we are never going back, but we're going forward. And I think it's going to be more opportunities for everybody. That's why we have so many diverse films from different countries. They got, from Arab countries are nominated. I mean, where are these countries coming from? What's beautiful is talent cannot be squashed, and it's going to be seen and shown. And I would say that the actors are excited, and so am I. I think it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Things are changing. And when things are changing, humanity doesn't change. We still want to be together, and we want to hear stories because stories teach us about ourselves and our humanity. And when we watch a story from another country with another language, we realize, hey, that person's just like me, because we all want exactly the same things.
Thank you, Bernie. So, Ivan, are you there? If you're not there, I asked. Okay, no, is Piera. Piera, Maestro Scorsese seems regretting that he had to make such a long movie for the platforms. I am sure that he was challenging himself with The Irishman. I remember the jokes that they used to make for him at the Oscars because The Irishman was definitely too long. So you think that the platforms right now are helping movie masters or are creating a little confusion?
You're on mute.
I am confused. Reality is that I am confused in this moment, but I am also exciting, exactly as Bernard said. I am exciting because I am really tired of a year with dad and Teams and Zoom and to be alone and discussion and call. But at the same time, I think that is always interesting when the world is changing. So I have no answer. I know very well the position of Scorsese and I met Almodovar last year before the pandemic, and he told me the images, the screen has to be bigger than you and bigger than the chair where you are sitting with a computer, with a PC. So I'm sure that there is a lot of, if you want, a lot of person that have nostalgia of the big screen. And in this moment, I think that the theater represent the possibility to escape of this reality and the dream and the image. But I'm sure that the future is I'm not sure that I'm not agree with Carlo on the fact that the future is just the big event, the rock concerts, and the big blockbuster, if you want, in the IMAX. I consider that the future in the theater will be the event. So this means that it will be something very a unique experience, if you want, to go in a theater. So it is good for the blockbuster or superhero or IMAX, but at the same time, I consider that is good also for the art house products, for the extreme movie, for the extreme experience of a little movie. And so if you want, is polarized the experience of the screening room, of the theater. So I really don't know. I consider very interesting the statement of Scorsese or Almodovar. I think it's very good, but at the same time, I'm not sure that we can go back to the past situation. And I think that my real feeling in this moment is I am excited, waiting for what happened in the future of the audiovisual industry and art. And for the poetry, Pascal, I don't think that the poetry will die or the art. I think that we need to tell stories. That is an ancient dream, an ancient need. So I think that all the many different situations will give us more opportunities, different opportunities, artistic and commercial. But I am in the same position with Giancarlo in this way. I am very open to the future. I consider cinema and series are two different way of expression, very different. But I love good series and I love good film. So, and I am interested to see how all these will go together in the future. I'm very open and excited. It's the good work. I am waiting for the future, and I think after the silence, after the anxious state of the beginning of the pandemic, and actually also because we are not so safe in this moment. But after that, I am very excited to waiting for the future. So I have a clear answer. I look and I am, I am a journalist at the start, so also at the end, I think. And for me, looking at what is happening is the more interesting thing. So I think this is a real interesting time. I know very well Carlo Carlei and Ivan Cotroneo. Ivan, for example, did a series at the same time, shoot during the pandemic, a movie, 14 days, I can say, I think.
Yes.
And so I think it's a fantastic opportunity, because during the pandemic, he's a workaholic, that is true, but and he use a lot of coffee. At the same time, a same artist, a same author, did a series for television, prime time, Rai Uno, as Carlo did, and I think an art house movie. So is a fantastic time. Terribile, not terrific, terribile and terrible and fantastic time, age that we live. So I use a lot of poetry.
Billy,
Sei sparito? Ma dove sei, Pascal? Non ti vedo.
We're here.
We are here.
Okay.
Billy,
Yeah.
I know you have a movie on the table ready to be distributed. A movie which is a sequel or a prequel of Out of Africa, the incredible Milos Forman movie starred by Meryl Streep.
Sidney Pollack.
Do you wish the movie to be screened on a big screen, or do you mind if it goes straight to the platforms?
Of course, for the big screen, but you know, I think, as it was mentioned here, that going to a movie theater is also a social thing, and we should always remember that people. You can see that during the epidemic now, it starts to open again. People want to go out; they miss the social feeling. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what it means to the movie theaters, how many people who are, because I think they're yearning, they're longing to experience that together with other people. But also, I think as a director or as a person making movies, this is a challenge. You know, I think it's possible to combine substance with the commercial side. I don't think these two different things, and that this is at least what I've been trying to do in the films I've done. Find a good story, find something that is meaningful, but then make it entertaining. And so it's possible to reach a big audience. And the film I just did, I really hope it will work that way. That's at least the intention I've had.
So, Erri De Luca, Bille is gonna do shortly maybe a movie with the help of the producer Mark Bikindu from your book. So do you have any specific suggestion to give to Bille August to make the realistic possible the history you wrote on a book to become a movie?
I trust him for his career, for his magnificent career. But in any case, when you, as an author, sell your rights, you have no rights anymore.
You are like that. You are so, mamma mia. You are an hero for. You are the person that everybody would like to. Every producer would like to meet, because sometimes the author are very protective of their opera. It seems that. You are ready to leave your baby to the end of somebody who gives you money.
You protect your opera until you is still yours. When you sell it, you cannot protect your opera. You have to trust the directors and the movie.
I don't think neither Carlo Carlei and Ivan Cotroneo thinks the same of you. Carlo, do you think that Erri is right? I mean, do you agree with him, or you are more I know that you are different. You want to control it all the time.
You know, first of all, I never wrote a novel, so that's quite a noble, point of view, and it's also very realistic, because if you sell the rights, then the project goes through a labyrinth of different minds that are taking over. In my experience, in having developed more than 20 movies in Hollywood, there are writers, screenwriters, that they take a book, and the first thing they want to do is just to destroy it in order to make that their own story, their own. It's like it's just an ego thing. If you adapt an Erri De Luca novel, for the big screen, it's not. It's a kind of a literature that you have to show respect and passion about it. It's not. It's not trivial literature. It's not commercial. It's poetry. And by the way, there was a novel. I was jerked around by a producer for almost a year, because there's a novel that Erri De Luca wrote that I really love, and that was if you would give me the novel the way it was written, I would go on the set and shoot it exactly the way it was written. I didn't even need to go through a different format in order to get the movie, adapted. And then, you could give the novel to the actors. So with the dialogue, the way it was written, it would have been perfect. So, of course, there are different cases. But in the case of Erri De Luca, I would show the utmost respect, for the material, of course.
And you, Ivan?
I think that Erri's point of view is very sane, and also I can feel it's very sincere. Actually, I had the opportunity to adapt my own novels and I had screenwriters with me because I didn't want to be too faithful to my novel, because I thought there had to be like important changes when the novel had to become a script. And in fact, in the team of screenwriters, I was the less attached to my own novel. But since I think that also when you write a script, I mean, you are the author of the script, and of course you feel attached to it. When I work as a screenwriter and give my script to a director, I expect to be surprised by what he does, by what he will do with the script. I mean, the best things I think I have done in movies with Maria Sole Tognazzi, with Luca Guadagnino, with Ferza and Ozbetek, they surprised me because they were, of course, filming the script, but also adding things and adding their idea of the movie, their personal idea of the movie. And that's for poetry, Pascal, because I wanted to answer you before and I had the problem with the line. I think that poetry is something that happens while we are busy making other things, making trying to make our story original, try to make our view of the world interesting to others, and try not to make a movie or a series that's already been made. Then maybe poetry will happen, but what will surely happen is something original. I think that our aim, since I agree with the fact that now we have so many different ways of showing our movies, our aim should be to find that kind of tale, that kind of story that not only is not already been told, but also people and producers are not expecting it that way. It's like you should do something that is creating the story and also exploring the desire that's already unknown about the story. A story that someone read and say, I didn't know I was waiting for this story. And I must say this also, I am very optimistic because I can't read the future, nobody can, but we have as Piera says, we want so much go out to our homes. We want so much stay in a movie theater close to other people and laugh with them and cry with them, that I think that there will be surprises during the next months when we can do this again. There is a change, but I don't think that will be for the worse. I'm sure that we're going to a year, and I hope it will be more than a year, in which we will find again, even with the art house movie, the joy of sharing a feeling together. This already has happened actually in the years before, because some movies that were made for the platform, and I think like Manchester by the Sea that Amazon did without thinking of a release, they were actually released because they were so good that people went to see in the movie theaters, and so I hope for the best. And I think that it's not just like an optimistic hope. It's kind of a desire that has to become true. We are just waiting to run there. This will be like something that go on, or just a reaction that will depend also on what we will find in the movie theater. And we hope to find very good movies and very good theaters when we get there.
This has been terrific, Pascal,
Yeah.
because this is like a gathering of people that we usually find on Ischia on the island, or at Capri around the end of the year, or at Los Angeles during the Los Angeles Italian Film Festival, but now we're doing it virtually.
Yes, but we will be back live again in Ischia, July 18, 25, where all of you are invited. I wanna just say a few words to Maestro Joe Mantegna, who actually has been so wonderful as usual to joining us. I know he has to go to work. I hope that tomorrow you can find 5 minutes to be with us again, because I want to go deeper with your, you know how much I respect and I love you. And
Thank you.
Also you, Bernie, either tomorrow or later on, because now we have a panel for Marco Pontecorvo, movies Fatima. Well, actually, Marco Pontecorvo is the son of Gillo Pontecorvo, but he's a wonderful director, a wonderful cinematography, and he did this movie that was produced for being theatrical, but then with the pandemic, it came out on platform. He's doing amazing. Netflix gave us the permission to show it at the Chinese theater. It will be tomorrow.
It's the closing film of the festival.
No, it's not the closing film. No. But will be tomorrow, and I know that already booking so many tickets for our theater Hall 6 at the Chinese theater. Now I want to close with Giancarlo Leone and Marco Kimmens, and then the last word to Giancarlo Leone about what Joe.
Io lavoro, io va a lavoro. Ciao ciao, a domani.
Grazie, I hope tomorrow, Joe.
Sì, grazie.
And Marco, it's the ideal situation when such a great writer says you, as far as you buy me the rights, then you can do whatever you want. It's the perfect situation.
Well, I don't know. It's, as Ivan was saying, it's a very realistic approach, but I think that the basis is the basis of trust, and obviously every, as he said, trust Billy August, and who wouldn't? And I guess that's when you make your decision. There have been authors that decided never to sell the rights for film or television adaptation. Many other authors that do sell them, but they want to have a say in terms of who gets these rights. And I remember when we did the first film, Romanzo Criminale. I remember somebody asked Giancarlo De Cataldo, who wrote the novel, what he felt about the relationship between novels and films and then TV series, and he says, you have to be, as an author, as a novelist, realistic about it. Whatever film you make out of a certain book, it is still, because it's a different form of expression, it's a different form of art, it's going to somehow, it's going to betray the book. Let's, he said, hope that this betrayal is, philosophically in line with the content of the book. And I guess that's what is important for both the novelist and the filmmaker.
Giancarlo, for you, the last sentences.
Yes, look, I remember when I released in Italy The Human Stain, from a novel Philip Roth, you know very well. And I remember that Tom Rosenberg, the producer, told me that Philip Roth didn't want at all to say anything about the script. And so I think that I believe in the separation of the rules. There's a writer that writes his novel. There are screenwriters that write the script, and there's a director that that's his work. So I think that they are separated. They are three different works, and I believe in this separation. So I appreciate what Erri De Luca said.
Thank you so much to Bille August, Erri De Luca, Marco Chimenez, Carlo Carlei, Ivan Cotroneo, and Giancarlo Leone. Stay with us a couple of minutes, and I'll be back with Daniel McVicar to meet a wonderful group of Fatima movie directed by Marco Pontecorvo. A few minutes. Thank you so much, guys.